Let's move on to WWE. Let's move on to Raw from May 27th. So, right when we got done recording last week and I put out all our segments from last week, the one segment that got the most views was the video of our review of Liv Morgan defeating Becky Lynch. But I think that's because something happened on Monday night when I posted all these videos in this Raw for this match. This was like a very important match that happened on this night, and that's why I think people were searching for this and ended up clicking on our video by mistake. So I think that's what happened. But yeah, Liv and Becky are set for a rematch here of their World Heavyweight title match, and it's in a steel cage for some reason after Dominic Mysterio interfered. We'll get to that. I'll mention the Judgment Day. Damian Priest had a talking to Dominic about interfering in that match and that he screwed up. What are you doing? Did you talk to Rhea? And they kind of want him to stay out of that, right? But
yes,
he does get involved in it again. So let's just jump to the main event. It's Liv Morgan, it's the man, Becky Lynch, for the Women's World Heavyweight title. And this one ended, let's just jump to the booking. I thought it was a good match, but I'm going to skip 10 minutes. And this is where Dominic Mysterio enters the fray and again tries to help Becky. If anyone doesn't know the story, Liv Morgan injured Rhea Ripley backstage by accident, but they put it in the angle, you know, that it's her fault, and Dominic doesn't want her to have the title because of that. So he's out here trying to help Becky Lynch, and then Judgment Day comes out and they're telling him, what are you doing here? And then this is where another angle enters this fray. The Braun Strowman thing. Braun Strowman has been chasing JD McDonough around for some reason, terrorizing him. And then he bumps into Dominic Mysterio here, who bumps into the door, which hits Becky in the face.
This is some AEW shit right there.
And then that leads to Liv Morgan just escaping the cage and winning the match. And then the thing that got everyone's panties all in a twist about the ending of this match was that Liv Morgan actually, after the show went off the air, grabbed Dominic Mysterio and kissed him. Because I don't have that, but that's an internet thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I didn't know about that until you told me.
Yeah, so that's what was all the craze last Monday. And that's why everyone was looking for videos of this feud instead of all the other ones, because I had a bunch of other videos that I thought would get more views, like the AJ Styles one, and, you know, the CM Punk discussion about whether he's going to screw Drew McIntyre in Scotland. I thought those would all get more views, but it ended up being this because Liv Morgan made out with Dominic. And that's going to get mommy real mad. But I don't have video. If anyone watched this match or wants to make comments about this, well, first of all, before I send it to you guys for comments, I will mention that Robert did suspect that something was amiss, or that somebody would be betraying, or that Dominic would betray Rhea or something. Is that what you said? I don't know. I didn't sense anything coming, but this wasn't really Dominic betraying Rhea, but it is leading to something. All right, sorry about that, you guys. Go ahead. Let's start with Robert. You go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, I believe I said that Dominic would eventually turn on Rhea, and I think that this is it's leading up to that pretty much. I didn't think they would make out, or if they did, it would happen probably a little bit later on in the angle. But I don't know, they did it just this past week. Okay, that was they're moving along pretty fast. Okay,
but correct me real quick if I'm wrong, but isn't it supposed to be like one of those, like she just grabbed him and kissed him type of thing, now where he was visibly quote unquote enjoying it, right? So it's supposed to be like still the gray area where he hasn't completely like joined her side type of thing, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean she's the one that made the move.
Yeah, she's the one that made the move. Yeah. But you'd think he would go for it, because if he could be with Liv Morgan or Rhea, he's not really with Rhea, though. Rhea just, like, I guess she dominates him, right? Is she his dominatrix?
Okay, wow. This is the topic of the day. Okay.
I'm not gonna
I'd rather have Liv Morgan as my girlfriend than Rhea Ripley as my dominatrix, I think.
I see. Well, that's a fair point.
I mean, I'm thinking that's what Dominic, the conclusion he's going to come into. I mean, this is the first time I'm thinking about this, but logically, this is it's kind of seems like, he should grow up and have a girlfriend now. He doesn't need to be just taking orders from Rhea Ripley. But anyways, okay, I'm going to move on if anyone doesn't have any more comments to make about this. What else do we have from Raw?
real quick. Sorry, real quick, Ken, real quick. I just say the way this whole thing happened was really dumb and stupid. If they wanted to live to win, they could have come up with a better way than this. They had that big goof, Braun Strowman, running around the ring like a freaking nutcase, and he pushes. Why is the cage door open like that? Like, why? What's the point of having a cage match if some nitwit could come in and just like, oh, I'll open the door? I don't know. The whole thing wasn't really done very well and kind of reminded me a little bit of AEW, but that's all I'll say about that. So we can move on. All
right. Well, the next topic I have from Raw was the whole Gunther thing when he came out for the King of the Ring coronation. Not coronation, but he came to talk about winning King of the Ring, and then Damian Priest comes out because they've set it up that they're going to do the World Heavyweight Champion against the winner of the King of the Ring. And the same with the women on the other side. Damian comes out, he confronts Gunther, but Drew McIntyre also comes out because, he has a match with Damian. So he kind of comes in and tells Gunther, like, you know what, we have to settle this first so you can leave. And Gunther's like, yeah, you're right. Go ahead and settle it. And then that leaves Drew and Damian to talk. So we talked about what this might entail a little bit last week. We kind of projected into the future, into their match, and obviously CM Punk looms over this big. I don't think we need to discuss this too much further because it's basically just, as we said last week, either Punk is going to interfere or not. So we're just waiting to see what's going to happen there. But they had some good jabs here. This was interesting because they took some pokes at each other. I don't know if you guys remember any of it, but I guess I could play a line from Damian.
That's how you get under people's skin, right? You talk your truth. Let me talk some of that. Actually, let me ask you a question. Your wife gonna be there? What's her name?
Better choose your next bloody words carefully. I will drop you where you stand if you continue in this path.
All right, Drew, listen. I could care less if she's gonna be there or not, man. I just wanted to see if I could get under your skin.
Very interesting verbal confrontation here, but CM Punk looms over like a cloud, even though he's not here in this segment. This has much to do with CM Punk. But yes, comments before I move on.
Just real quick, I'll be quick. I've kind of, I'm enjoying this. I think David Priest is actually showing something. And he's been pretty good in these promo moments, leading up to this, where I'm not 100% that Drew should go over. Most likely he should, but I'm not, 100% convinced because Damian's doing a decent job on these promos.
Yeah, maybe this is kind of like a test that they're seeing if Damian can hang with these guys. Like, if he's really bad, they might have to just take the title off him. But he's not that bad.
Right.
So,
no.
Robert, what'd you think of this segment?
It was decent, and as far as the outcome of their match, if the PLE was taking place in any other location, any other country, I would feel a lot more comfortable picking Damian Priest as the winner in their matchup. But seeing where it's taking place, there is a very real possibility Drew actually wins. But I don't know. I'm slightly still favoring Damian to come out on top in their matchup. Well, we'll see.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Well, let me move on, though. I got to move on to the Braun Breaker stuff because last week his segment was really hot. And we're waiting to see what would happen with that as that storyline continued. After he destroyed some jobber, he also speared Ricochet backstage, and Ricochet is injured, but he's cleared. So he's going to face Dragunov tonight. So at this point, Braun Breaker has been suspended by Adam Pearce, so he's not supposed to be there. But Ricochet is going to face Dragunov. Here's Ricochet coming out, and he's a little injured. Dragunov didn't really want to face an injured opponent, but the match is taking place nonetheless. We got a nice little backflip here for you fans of backflips. I know AEW do this a lot, but WWE have the best ones even at that. Even though AEW are known for their flips, I think WWE have the best flippers, technically. So yeah, Ricochet looked like he had a chance to win at the end, but Braun Breaker interfered and speared Ricochet. So he's here even though he's suspended. Man, he's so red. Why does he look so hot? But anyways, Dragunov tries to fight him off after he's had a long, tough match, but he's going to get speared by Braun Breaker here too. Anyways, Adam Pearce comes out. He's angry at him. You've been suspended. You should have stayed home, he tells him. But anyways, any thoughts about how this is progressing for you guys? Let's start with Vlad.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like I said last week, I thought I was a big fan of that angle and what they're doing with Breaker so far. So far, so good. I mean, I have no issues with this, no complaints, just nothing negative to say. I'm curious to see what it all leads to for him. He's supposed to be their next big thing. They have their hopes that he will be a star in the future, a guy that will be able to be the next whatever, Roman Reigns or whatever have you, something to that ilk. So, I mean, obviously he's a long way from that right now, but I'm saying that's the hope for him. So, I'm very curious how this all unfolds for him. But so far, I'm digging it.
All right, Robert, did you want to make a comment about Braun Breaker's segment this week?
I'm digging it too. They're making him look like an absolute beast. So, and as they should, because he looks the part. So
yeah. Well, the one thing about Dragunov being involved in it, if he's going to end up losing to Braun Breaker, I mean, he's new, and I kind of don't want that for him. But if anyone can take it, I think it's Dragunov, because I think he's going to be like an underdog type of character. So him losing doesn't really matter, because I think it just kind of makes him kind of more likable, and, you know, for when he does win, it'll make it better. So anyways, I'm going to move on from Raw to the Alpha Academy business for this week. I guess I'll just mention it, that, what's his name, Otis lost. He had a match with Bronson Reed.
It was Bronson Reed. Okay.
Yeah, so he had a match with Bronson Reed already, and then afterwards, Chad Gable is going to do his thing where he berates everybody in Alpha Academy. This week he's going to whip Otis, right? And then Maxine Dupree stops him, and he, you know, gets mad at her for that and throws her out of there. And then Sami Zayn comes into the ring, and he's the one who's trying to convince Otis to turn on Chad Gable and stand up for himself. So that's the storyline here. So this led to a physical confrontation when Gable attacked Sami Zayn, trying to get him to shut up. And then Sami Zayn was going to whip his ass. And then Otis still helped Chad Gable, even though all of the verbal abuse and everything. So this leads to Chad Gable getting the final shot in on Sami, suplexes him from behind, and that's where we are at this point in this. This is good business. I think this storyline is progressing. Okay, let's get some comments on this segment.
I'll just say that, yeah, this was also an angle that I'm enjoying. It's been good so far. Again, I'm so happy for Gable that he's out of the comedic, the shush thing, and he's actually being used to his abilities. He can be, you know, we know he has the in-ring ability, but we've never really seen any type of real believable character work at all. It's always been like comedy, dumb stuff, getting embarrassed, looking like an idiot type of thing. This, at least, is something that they're running with, and it's been good so far. And obviously, Sami is also really good. I've liked that, you know, the way he sells, the way he gets things over is really usually well received by me and most of the fans, I think, that are watching. So this is good stuff.
Robert, let me get some comments from you for Monday Night Raw before we move on to SmackDown.
I agree with what Vlad said about this angle and about Chad Gable. The one thing I do want to add is I still find it hilarious that while Chad Gable is not in that comedic role anymore, the commercials recently that involve Chad Gable still show him in that comedic role. So it's like two completely different characters that we're seeing from Chad Gable, the ones that we see in the commercial and then the ones that we see on the show.
Oh, are there like commercials that they air during the Raw?
During Raw, yeah.
Oh, back when he was in his other role.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they probably should cut. They should probably cut.
Yeah, they should probably not show those commercials anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did not notice that because I always forward through the commercials, so I didn't know that. But good to know.
Yeah, I didn't know that, Robert, either. I never watched the commercials, but okay. Okay, so I want to wrap up the show for today, so let me move on to SmackDown. That's the last thing we'll talk about. Then we can all go to bed. And then I'll release this for the people in the morning so they can watch our reviews of these wrestling segments, because our review is what everyone's waiting for, really. No one cares about anyone else's. This is the premier wrestling review on the internets.